going to make you look scared. It's going to make you look timid. It's not going to help you in the long run. This is where I believe, like, this belief of boundaries as the hairstylist, the salon owner, a family member, a friend come into place. Hi, I'm Jennifer Janish, owner of Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions. I'm obsessed with curly hair. I cut it, style it, and extend it, and this podcast is all about my curly girl obsessions that stretch far beyond just curly hair. Hey there, it's me, Jennifer, from the Curly Girls Obsessions. Today, I'm all done up. If you've been watching the last few episodes, I've been getting my hair extensions installed. I kind of look like a mess. My hair is all frizzy. But today, it's actually done. And let's move forward. We are going to discuss this topic that comes up so often on the Curl Tour, and it's boundaries. And I feel like the reason it comes up a lot is because hairstylists are in this very unique position. While we like to say that we are business 24/7, a lot of our personal life gets put into conversation within a hair appointment. 99% of the time, the client is talking about personal things. You become friends and things just morph this way as a hairstylist. So when I also talk about this in the hair world, right, I'm coming to you from a salon owner that owns a salon that's commission-based. We have set hours, we have a receptionist, we have assistants. This also is structured this way to create the boundaries needed to help a hair salon function like a business and not like I'm doing my girlfriend's hair in my basement type of thing, right? Like, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I used to do that. And even when I did that, I had boundaries. I had set hours. I did have an assistant. I operated it like a business. But all those things aside, right? This conversation about boundaries is going to come from a business aspect, a family aspect, and a friendship aspect. I'm going to cover it all. And please know that while I think some of these points are extremely valuable, they're also my opinions. And my life, what do you call it? My life moments have brought me to this point and also helped shape these boundaries. Now today, I'm coming to you from my husband's office in our house. And if you notice, behind me is the all-time favorite Bears coach, Mike Ditka. He's kind of blurred because I have it in this cinematic setting, but it's kind of good. He's my aura in the background. He was, I believe, a highly respected coach that didn't take any bullshit. And he actually brought the Bears to the Super Bowl and won it. We haven't won it since. Maybe we need a little bit more Mike Ditka in all of us and our coaches on the sideline, right? And so, like, when I tell you guys this, and like I said before, my opinions are shaped because of my life moments that have brought me here, and also a lot of education in business that I've had. And just being a salon owner has helped create so many boundaries in a sense, because running a hair salon, being a mentor to other hairstylists, dealing with clients day in and day out, you really kind of got to get a thick skin, which also helps to create boundaries. So one of my main beliefs that is shaping this podcast is once you set the tone for how people can treat you, it's done. Once you set the tone in which people can talk to you, how they can be in your presence, it's learned and it's used often, right? So at an early age, you really and truly have to set the tone for your personal boundaries. And these personal boundaries can exist throughout the rest of your life, and it can be the framework to relationships in the future. Now, if you're like, shit, I'm 40, I have zero boundaries, I hate the trajectory in which my life is going right now, and I'm fully responsible for it because I let people walk all over you, just know that the minute you think that is the past, and your next foot forward or breath into the future is how you're going to change that, and how you're going to change the way that we shape these boundaries. So what I'm going to do in this podcast is I'm going to kind of break it down like story time, because I feel like I can learn from a story time situation better than anything else, right? So like, instead of someone just saying, do X, Y, and Z, I like to hear the story behind it in order to get to the outcome. I definitely was one of those kids that hung out with the adults and loved to listen to their stories. So I feel like that's what makes this my style of preferred learning or listening, right? And so let's start with the salon boundaries. I already told you, commission salon, set hours, receptionist making the appointments, assistants helping shampoo to keep things flowing. The set hours is imperative for any business because, especially in the hair world, there's a lot of hairstylists who will work around the clock to make that extra buck because they're feeling the crunch, right? And here's what's terrible about that. Number one, you're gonna burn yourself out in a real flat, hot minute. Take it from me. I have worked as a hairstylist for 35 years. The first salon I worked at, I worked open to close and then some, because your set hours, like when you finish the client and you finish their hair, it's very rare that you walk out of the salon the minute that you're done. There's cleanup work to be done. There's just kind of like that take a breath, settle moment. And that was just the way the salon operated. I 100% probably worked 55 hours a week then when I was young. Not saying that it was all bad. You know, I learned a lot. I was young. I could do it. It was what it was. But taking that and moving forward, understanding the importance of set hours and not set hours that the stylists who worked in my business were going to get burnt out because I was there and I didn't want them to go through that. And also, with that being said, within the salon and the set hours, I'm always talking to the hairstylists about their hours. A lot of them do not work all the hours that the salon is open. And the salon is only open 38 hours a week for business. Now, with that being said, sometimes we are there later, whatever, right? So the set hours helps to create these boundaries for the stylist. So, funny story. Not funny, but kind of funny in reflection. I had a client who came in and I did her hair a couple times, great client, and she messaged me. So, you know, communication ends up being for hairstylists, either one through text message. Some of our clients have our cell phone numbers, which is a lot of my extension clients because crazy things happen. And Instagram DMs is another way that they can get through to us. Facebook DMs, like all the things. Okay, so this client messages me, wants to come in and says, what are your Friday evening appointments? I'm like, I don't work Friday evenings. I work from 9 to 2 on Fridays. That is the salon hours. I know it's like banker's hours, but it's for a reason. By the time the salon gets to Friday, we are so freaking tired. You kind of need that reboot before Saturday, because Saturday is going to be a long one. Saturday is going to be busy. And I believe, like my stylist, they need to go home, take a nap, recharge, do their things, whatever, before they come in there on Saturday. And it started with those hours when I had little kids and I had to get them from school on Fridays because nobody else could help me. So I work 9 to 2 on Fridays. And she's like, well, that doesn't work for me. I can't get there until after 5. Okay. Do you value your Friday night? I do. I'm not working on hair on Friday night after 5. And then this client went as far as to offer up extra money for me to stay later on a Friday night. And when I said no, she offered it up to yet another stylist in the salon in this DM with me. Let me tell you something about this, is that while I value this friendship, all of a sudden I felt like a cheap whore. The hair whore, that is. No, you cannot pay us extra to come in and stay later to do your hair, because that's not how this works. And it's kind of degrading. Like, you're gonna buy me to stay late after hours? No. So my response back was very simple, and it was just that. In the past, when I was a younger stylist, I might have done this, and I did overwork myself, and therefore I did burn out. So I will not do that anymore. And I also have to show the stylist within my salon that I value their time, and I would never expect this from them. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, well, how much was the dollar amount? It doesn't matter, because whatever that dollar amount was for this first time would be 0 the second time, and it would be 100% fully expected. So right there, setting the boundaries. I'm not coming in late. I'm not staying late. I'm not doing it for extra money. And this is why, because I value my time and I understand where this is going. And it's not going to end well for me in the long run. I'm going to get back to being that burnt out girl that has no time constraints. But I was nice about in the way in which I delivered the message. And you know what? It wasn't upsetting. It wasn't anything. It was like, okay, then when can I come in next? And yes, she did take the day off of work, come in, get her hair done, whatever, right? That's number one. So then as a salon, we also do something very different. We take deposits on every single hair appointment that walks in there. Good or bad, agree or not, this is another area in which I felt like we were creating boundaries. We were standing our ground in the sense of like, you're going to respect our time. And if you can't cancel at least 24 hours prior to, you're going to lose your deposit. This is serious business here. This is not just doing hair, like I said, in the basement, doing hair in the kitchen. This is a full-fledged business and how me and my team make a living, right? So, and after COVID, we were experiencing people just canceling randomly, which is how we created this deposit, because I don't think that people realize in a hair salon, if the chair isn't filled, the salon is not making money to be able to pay the stylist. It's not even about the profit at that point. It's like we need to have a livelihood. We have cars to get to our job. We have to pay for water to take showers, to look good and fresh for our clients. We got to wear clothes. We got to pay for insurance. All the things add up, right? And nobody else would go to a job to work for free. So we instill deposits. This story you may have heard before on here, because this was one that sticks out and blows my mind every time I think about it when it comes to the deposit. So it's a Friday morning, it's 9:05. The client was supposed to be there at 9 a.m. The receptionist listens to the voicemails, and at 8:55 was left a voicemail from a client that had just had her car repossessed and she wasn't going to be able to make the appointment. And you're like, shit, how did you afford this deposit? I believe her deposit was like $240 for all the services she was receiving that day. She was getting a curly cut and she was getting the Adored Signature partial. And she had said on the phone when she booked the appointment how she couldn't get in, couldn't wait to come in and learn about all the products, and that she was going to purchase products, right? So she calls, leaves this message. Okay, she's losing her deposit. She's calling 5 minutes before. And if you think that that's harsh, like, it's all stated on the website. And it ain't my problem that her car got repossessed. Personally, I don't think she needed to be making a hair appointment and spending that money on her hair. She should have been sending it in for her car payment, and we wouldn't be in this situation. So it's kind of like your priorities, right? So the day goes on and this client calls back now to reschedule her appointment after she's figured out all the things. And the receptionist says, well, you're going to have to put down another deposit to make an appointment. And this client flies off the handle. No surprise. So they come and they get me, and I'm like, okay, so what do? I close my eyes. I step into the moment of not being Jen behind the chair, being Jen, the business owner, right? And I get on the phone, and probably this wasn't one of my finer moments, but I do know that I made an impact. So I go over, I answer the phone. Hi, this is Jennifer. Can I help you? Knowing full well that the response on the other end is not going to be happy, warm, and fuzzy. And she comes back and says how irritated she is and that the deposit should be, refunded or whatever. And I said to her, well, honestly, like, this situation doesn't warrant that. I feel that it's totally irresponsible, the scenario that went down. And therefore, like, my stylist who was going to do your hair today isn't going to pay for the fact that she had 4 hours minus a client in her chair, and you're not going to refill that in the moment, right? Walk-ins are not a thing anymore. So, well, at least where we are, like, they're really not walking in off the sidewalk to come in and just get their hair cut. And so she got really angry with me, and she did push my buttons too. Like I said, it was not one of my finer moments, but I stood my ground. And she told me that she was going to write a review about me, what an awful person I was. And that she did. And I did tell her in that moment to get a piece of paper and a pen and write my name down exactly the way I would spell it to her, so she didn't spell it wrong. And she did spell it wrong in that Google review, but whatever. But the final part of that conversation with her was to say, like, listen, you're not our ideal client either, so you're not going to be welcome back in this salon. One, for the manner in which you held yourself accountable, right? Two, the way that you just spoke to me. And three, because, like, you got to get your priorities in order before you're going to step in this door and before you're going to, do right by us and yourself. So there's another story. The other part, we separate parts and labor at the salon. And so what this is if you come in for a root touch-up, there's a charge for the stylist to do the work, and then there's a charge for the actual color used in the salon. We didn't always do things this way. It was always included. And then as a business owner, starting to go through my numbers, realizing where all the pitfalls were, and thinking to myself, okay, if an electrician comes to do a bid on your house, he doesn't say that the job is going to cost $1,000, and then you go to the lighting store and spend $999.99 on lights, and then he's paid a penny. No, he separates it out. This is what I'm going to charge you to put in 3 chandeliers and 10 can lights. Then you can have this allowance at the lighting store if it's a builder, right? Or if you're separate, right? This is what it's going to cost for my labor. Go to the lighting store and pick out your lights, and you will pay that bill, right? That's how it is in our salon, is like, this is the charge for us to do the service, and then this is the charge for the actual product used on the service. So when we switched to this, we did get phone calls from clients who were really upset about it. And I just told the receptionist, the less you say, the better. This is just one of those situations that's super cut and dry. And the less you say in this situation, you're not going to talk yourself in a circle. I said the same thing to the stylist. The less you say, the better. This is setting your boundary. This is what the cost is. This is what the cost of the service is. And this is how we do business. And people got over it. And why? Because we didn't try to justify it. We didn't have to say like why we were doing it. We just switched the whole business model and said, this is how business is today. I will say a couple times I did use the electrician analogy because I felt like it was pretty good. And when people really pushed me on that one, I asked them too, like, well, would you work for a penny? If that's how it all laid out? Like, the answer obviously would be no. There was just cause for us to do that. And again, it set the boundaries. And I was very upfront about it. I did not like do the client's ticket and run away from the front desk. I would stand there and make sure that the receptionist was not going to be ridiculed, right? The other part is about boundaries with hair. So with extension clients, we deal with clients that are paying top dollar for top dollar service in the hair world. It just is, right? Hair extensions is typically the highest price point for a service that you can do behind the chair. So there again, you got to have your boundaries wrapped up pretty tight because a lot can go wrong if you don't have the right systems and processes in place. And then add in the caveat of curly hair extensions and whoa, everything is totally turned upside down because it's different from all the information that's out there on the internet. How did I solve this? I created care and styling videos for curly hair extensions that we give to all of our clients, and literally for free. Here's the key though. In order to get those videos, they have to go on to my extension website, and then they have to create an account. They have to purchase the videos, put them in a cart, and then they get a promo code that generates them for free. I'm about to sneeze. Sorry. So we can see if they actually purchase this product, which in turn covers us when the client doesn't maintain their hair properly, right? First of all, we know with the situations that are going down, and we know exactly if they've watched the videos because we're like, okay, well, if it's tangly, you didn't watch the detangling one on how to set your style for success. with your curly hand-tied hair extensions, right? So there was a scenario in which a client came in, couldn't wait to get the hair in her head, got the hair in her head, loved it, took out the extensions, went on vacation, very smart of her, and then came back, got them put in, and then struggled with them after. And it was strange to us because I do remember when the extensions came out and her stylist had told me, like, these things, she's got these all tangled and matted. I know she's not detangling these right. So immediately I go and look. She never got the Karen styling videos. And so that led me to believe, like, she's not maintaining them properly, because when the client's sitting in the salon and we're telling them all the things that they should do with their hair, they're so taken by how great they look, they forget everything that goes in. That's also the other purpose of those Karen styling videos. And so I was like, okay, this person called. She literally was threatening to come in to be screaming at us in the salon and doing all the things, right? And you're just like, okay, listen, you are losing your shit over here because you didn't listen to what we have to say. I am not going to get scared that you're going to come in here and you're going to throw daggers, you're going to take shit down, whatever, right? No, this is a reflection of you and what you're not doing. And I stood my ground on that phone, and I just said to her, like, you're not taking care of this product. I did not cave. I did offer her to come in again to have another styling session with the stylist. The stylist even had offered her that up on the front end, right? And she wouldn't take it. So then at that point, there is nothing more that I can do to help this person. I'm not going to go out of my way to reach out to her after the fact, after this whole crazy takedown happened, because she was asking for her money back. And she was asking for her money back after wearing the extensions for 3 months. Like, no. What happened from A to B, right? Like, what happened in the interim? There was nothing wrong with the hair extensions. You just decided to stop taking care of them. And I can see through the lines. And that's where, again, the boundaries come in, right? You know what you did right on the front end. You know what was going well. And the things that had happened and transpired, I don't know what scenario happened in her life that she needed this money back, but it was not my problem. And so what I'm giving you an advice from these stories is that you have to know in your right mind that what you decide to be the right way, what you decide to be those boundaries within your business, have to be lock solid, right? Like, and it's not just because it's opinion, it's because you know it works. And that comes after 13 years of being in business as a hair salon owner, but 35 years of being in business as Jennifer behind the chair, because God knows I have been knocked down by clients. I have coiled. I wasn't always this way, but you learn over time, right? I also tell my team, like, you really have to look fear in the face and walk right through it. This is the best way to create any kind of boundary. If you are feeling insecure about something, you need to address it head on. You need to move forward with it. You need to not address, because it's only going to do you wrong. It's going to make you look scared. It's going to make you look timid. It's not going to help you in the long run. This is where I believe, like, this belief of boundaries as the hairstylist, the salon owner, a family member, a friend come into place. If some type of situation is happening and it needs to be addressed, you just need to take it head on, because that's going to get you through the hardest part, the first step, right? And that is within itself the hardest part of creating those boundaries, is standing up for yourself if you truly don't believe in yourself, right? And in the beginning, we don't. We're like, who the hell are we? Did you just pull this out of your ass? Like, what's going on? Like, it's a total pattern interrupt if you're not used to doing it. So you got to get good at being scared and walking through it. Once you get to the other side, and 60 seconds later, when you realize that your tongue's not going to be ripped out of your throat, you're fine. And then you can keep moving forward. Use factual information to create those boundaries. You need to address it, and you need to be clear, concise, and to the point. Like, you need to land the plane. And you need to do it well. It does not need to be a shaky, scary thing. You just need to know in your right mind that what you are saying is correct, and you need to do it smoothly. End of story. And it comes from years of practice, or it just comes from you setting the stage in your mind of how to get into the right frame of mind in order to deliver the message. Like I said on that repo call, like I literally closed my eyes and transitioned myself from Jennifer behind the chair to Jennifer, the salon owner, manager, the thing, right? In order to deliver the message of this is how this is done. And often we think if we mitigate, and we just don't address the confusion or don't address the problem child in the room, we're actually doing it a favor. We're not. Again, you're setting the tone for the manipulation and for the things to just continue to take place, right? You cannot do that. You are giving them more of the opportunity to be the person in your life that you don't want to show up. So the other thing that we need to address in this conversation is when you're creating these boundaries, be it business or personal life, let's talk about the friendships. So if you have that friend that's like draining you 24/7 and you're just like, oh my God, I cannot take another minute with this person. Do yourself a favor. Don't take another minute with that person. And so often I hear, well, oh, it's such a shame because you're friends for so long, or we've been friends since we've been 3 years old. So no, doesn't give that person the permission to act like an asshole to you. Doesn't give that person the permission to dump on you 24/7 their bad habits, because guess what? You are the product of the 5 people you hang around with most. And if the 5 people you hang around with most drain you and take from you, you'll never have the energy to lift yourself up to get to that place that actually has the boundaries that you need to be that healthy person, to put forth your best foot in business, to do the things required. So my advice to the hairstylist who's trying to do this is sit down with a piece of paper, write out the vision for what you want your life to look like behind the chair, set your hours, set your absolute this is an absolute hell no's. And from there, you create your boundaries. A client sends you a text message or a DM, whatever, and it's triggering, give yourself 24 hours to sit back, take it in, and think about how it's affecting you in the future. And if you still can't figure out a good response, let ChatGPT write that response for you. It works. I've done this many times because I am the customer service in the hair salon. I am the customer service with the extension lines, and sometimes it doesn't always work out in my favor, and it can be extremely draining, right? So once I realized that ChatGPT could take my response that quite honestly could be pretty vile in the moment and turn it around and make it make sense and list the facts out factually without emotion, it was a game changer for me in my business. It 100% helped me And also, like, when my brain was in that place of like just total irritation, totally freaked out, when I would read the response that ChatGPT would respond back with after I fed it all the information, I was like, damn, that was easy. And this is so spot on true. Like, who could argue with this? And guess what? They can't, because it's stated there for them, right? Like, it is definitely one of your best responses. So after you've done all of those things, you also could load all this information into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to help you write a vision statement or a mission statement within your business. And then from there, you can start breaking it down and asking it to help you create systems, processes, and let it be your customer service rep. But if anything stands from this conversation, and honestly, I really hope it was a good one for you, because I thought long and hard about this, because I do get asked about it a lot. And I do think that I do come off very strong, and trust me, that's only from years and years of doing it, and sometimes not doing it very well, and sometimes hitting it right, or like I said earlier, landing the plane. The one thing you have to remember is once you set the tone for how people will treat you, it's done. So keep that at the top of your mind, at the top of your brain, and think of how is it that you want people to treat you so that it's done, right? I want to be respected. I want to be known as. I want to do good by, and this is my motto, right? Because if you set the tone early that that's how you will be treated, then you will be treated that way. And it will get easier and easier for you to set those boundaries in the future and create one of the most successful careers and relationship building tactics ever. Hope this was a good one. If you found it to be beneficial and you think someone you know could benefit from it, please send it to them. If you don't already, please do subscribe, because we want this channel to grow and we want it to get out there to as many hairstylists and people who like to listen to the things that I have to talk about and my team. So yeah, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening or watching this from, and I hope you have a great day.